What is going on, chums, and welcome back to the Game with Chums podcast. I'm your host this week, Raw, joined as always by the man in the beard there, doing his praying hands for some reason, is Paul. How are you?
Namaste, Mr. Ross. Namaste. I'm very well. I'm looking forward, as of this recording, tomorrow we'll be going to the London Anime and Gaming Con, which we haven't gone for in like 2 years because of obvious reasons. I'm looking forward to it. It's a new venue. So I don't know what else to say. It's just like, we'll be making a little video on that because those videos tend to do really well. We should just become a vlog channel and just film ourselves going around, going to cons.
We actually have to do stuff then if we become a vlog channel.
No,
like just like stay in our houses.
We'll literally just like travel around
2
Europe.
videos a year.
Travel around Europe, going to gaming conventions and filming it. That's what we do with the money. With the money we don't have.
But LAGC is tomorrow as of recording this. Both really looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing what the layout is like in the new venue, because it really needed to move from the university that was in Holloway, which was just too small. So I'm excited to see what it's like. Yeah. If you happen to see us there, because obviously this is going to go up after the fact, if you happen to see us there, hi.
Hello.
Hi, future people we might have met.
Hello.
But yeah, we're looking forward to that. But what have you been up to the last couple of weeks since we last recorded?
Heading back to the office, back in for my job, only twice a week, so that's not too bad. But still, I rather just not go to. I've never been a big fan of heading into central London when it's not like when it's work related, because who likes the grind of going up there and you know what I mean, like traveling up there on public transport, and just where I work is normally full of tourists, and surprisingly it bloody busy. Not full of tourists, just full of a lot of young Londoners and office workers. Because it seems like with restrictions easing and all the government guidelines on COVID is sort of been really eased. Everyone just seems to is getting back into the swing of things, which is quite alarming because like the numbers are still quite high of infections.
But if we stop testing, then the numbers go down, Paul.
Yeah, and like the government's just sort of bollocks to it. Let's just not forget about everything. You don't have to quarantine.
Let's just pretend it doesn't exist anymore.
Don't bother testing yourself either, because we're not going to get any of those lateral flow tests anymore. So just we kind of like they're just sort of giving up on it and just like hope for the best sort of thing. But across Europe, the numbers are going up, and I could see ourselves in London. We could see ourselves not in maybe in another lockdown. I don't know. All it needs is another like more potent variant to come along, like the Delta variant that happened for a while, and I can see everything sort of going to shit, because everything's just gone out the window. There's no people not wearing masks anymore. Everyone's just really like shoulder to shoulder. The thing is that the virus hasn't gone anywhere. It's still out there. It's not just because the government says, "Oh, it's okay now." It's just not going to stop. So, but I know a lot of people are fed up with it, and but it's still a problem out there. So it's we're kind of like giving them mentality of just like, just if we don't talk about it,
it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. Just
we don't look at it. It's not there.
Yeah. So been doing that, mate. Going back to the office. With gaming wise, I've been streaming when I can, mostly on the weekends, like Dragon Age 2, which I keep saying is highly underrated. I prefer it over Inquisition for sure. And I've been doing that, trying to get through Halo Infinite. I didn't realize some of the levels like in the later levels do not drag, but they're quite long, and it's surprising how long. I was like, damn, like especially when you go down to the complex, like to the Forerunner complexes, it's just like, oh my god, this just keeps going. I'm having fun, but I'm like, I need to finish this game. God damn it, I need to finish it. I've been playing
out 2 months now.
Yeah, because I keep playing because I can't like sit down and play like because of my time. Like my only free time I got now is on the weekend, and if now that everything's open up, everyone wants to go out again. So I'm just like, okay, I'll go out. And then I come back, I'm either too drunk or too tired to play the game. So the only time I get to play it is on a stream. So yeah, I've been doing that, and I've been watching Attack on Titan season
4 part 2.
Part 2, the final season, part 2. I've caught up with it on Crunchyroll, and I have to say it's very good. The thing is, I know how it ends because when the manga ending came out, it was all over Twitter and YouTube, and unfortunately, I had it spoiled for myself. So I know how it ends, and a lot of people were disappointed with. It's like the Mass Effect 3 ending, not it's not like that with choices, but it's like people were disappointed with it and are pissed off. I know how it ends, and I gotta say, I'm perfectly fine with how it ends. But yeah, I have no problem with how it ends. I think it kind of ends in I think in a logical way. But yeah, we've been watching it, and it's fantastic. And I've been watching my Dress Up Darling. Well, that's pretty good. I kind of waiting for Demon Slayer to finish so I can sort of binge watch it.
Well, it'll be finished tomorrow, so there you
go.
Is
it finishing tomorrow?
Last episode is tomorrow, and that has been amazing. Season 2 of Demon Slayer.
It's a bit like I would like to say like a bit normie, innit? It's like watching Attack on Titan and Demon Slayer.
Who cares if you're enjoying it? You're enjoying it.
Like a lot. I know some anime fans go, "Oh, it's so normie. That's such a normie like thing. You got to watch niche underground stuff." But no, I've just been watching that. But let me throw that question back to you, my dear friend. What have you been doing?
Very kind of you to say.
What have you been playing, and how you been keeping? You're looking very like sexy, so
looking very pale because of the lighting in this room.
Yeah,
very vampiric, if I do say so myself.
Yeah.
What have I been doing? I was playing Life is Strange: True Colors, which I may have mentioned on the last podcast.
You have mentioned that a few times.
I finished that. It's very good. Really good game. Great, fantastic cast of characters. The setting is really good. I want to go back to that setting. I hope they do something else in there. I know there is DLC where you get to play as a different character, so I'll pick that up at some point. But after playing that, I was going to play Chorus, the space combat game that came out towards the end of last year. That is next up on my list, I think. But because of the whole Microsoft acquisition Blizzard.
Activision.
Microsoft acquiring Activision Blizzard.
It's hard to say that, isn't it?
Tongue twister. Activision acquisition.
Acquisition.
It kind of reminded me that I don't really play Call of Duty. The last one I completed until recently was Modern Warfare 2, which was 2009 or something. Mm-hmm. I've picked up a couple, 2 or 3 of them in the intervening years and never finished them. And it kind of reminded me that one of those was Infinite Warfare, which I bought for £20 a few months after it came out back in 2016. And I remember quite enjoying it. It was kind of Call of Duty, but kind of focused through the lens of Battlestar Galactica reboot. It's that's the space one. If anyone's like, which one is that? It's the one where you go into space and have spaceships and space dogfights and stuff. And I remember thinking, yeah, it's Call of Duty, but it's quite fun. So I went back and replayed that and finished it this time, and it's a really fun game. The story isn't amazing, and the story in the last couple of missions is borderline insufferable, quite honestly. It gets very, very Call of Duty jingoistic hoorah nonsense, but yeah, it embraces the sci-fi setting, which I appreciate, and the space dogfighting stuff is really fun, and I think it's a shame that everybody apparently hated it and they're never going to do another one, because I think it's a setting that's got a lot of promise. But I finished that. So I finished that the other night, so I'm kind of in the process of starting something new. So I'll probably start Chorus over the weekend and see how that is. Anime. Sorry,
over this weekend. You can't do it this weekend, can you?
That's true.
Yeah.
I might start it later on tonight, and then obviously tomorrow we're going to be out all day making videos for this channel,
having sexy adventures.
But yeah, I might have a quick look at it tonight. Anime, I haven't watched Attack on Titan yet because season 4 part 1 I thought was, I don't want to say I didn't think it was bad, but it just went in a very different direction from season 3, which I think we've talked about it on the podcast before. Like season 3 I think is one of the best seasons of anime I've ever seen. It's so good. And season 4 is like a hard swerve away from it in a lot of ways. So I wouldn't say I'm put off. I'm going to finish it, but it's just I'll probably wait until it finishes running and then just binge it all. Basically what you're planning on doing with Demon Slayer. But I have been watching Demon Slayer week to week because that is just every episode it ends and you're like, oh no, what's next? I have to wait a week. Yeah, Demon Slayer has been excellent. Incredible animation as well. It's like I think this season is it's quite short because obviously they had the movie Mugen Slayer, and then they did an arc based on the movie where they added a little bit extra into it, but then made it into like a 7-episode arc. But then season 2 itself, the Entertainment District arc, is going to be 11 episodes in total, which is short, but it feels like they've got like movie budget for this series. Like the animation is absurd. It feels like just a anime movie budget over an 11 episode arc, and it's really good. I'm looking forward for you to watch it, seeing as I say, the last one comes out tomorrow, so I'm going to finish it tomorrow. I'm looking forward to seeing what you think about it. And I've also been watching World's Finest Assassin, which I am very mixed about. It seemed to start off quite promising, and now it seems to be mostly about the main character assembling a harem of abused little girls, which is not really interesting. Yeah, it's a bit... I'm not quite sure I'm going to keep watching it, to be honest. Crunchyroll Awards happened over the last couple of days as well, and there's some suspect stuff on there as usual. Like, everyone's been talking about this anime called Mushoku Tensei. Like, all the anime-tubers have been on about it. And I added it to my watch list, but I never got around to it. And then I read about some of like what happens in the manga and immediately had to nope out of it because it just sounds like some fucking incel shit. And it's slightly worrying that that's winning anime awards and all the anime tubers are talking about it. But that's a whole different thing. But a lot of them were also talking about World's Finest Assassin, and that's kind of a bit sketch in places. So I'll probably end up dropping that, I think. Not really enjoying it. But other than that, just looking forward to LAGC, to be honest, because as you said, it's been 2 years since we were able to go, or is it even? Yeah, it's 2 years, isn't it? February 2020 was the last one we went to.
They did have one last year for the summer, but that was just after that lockdown stopped. So I wasn't going to chance it. I was like, "There's no way in hell I'm going straight after the lockdown." That was just not like a good idea.
Yeah, this will be the first one we've been to since February 2020. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, you're going to be very careful. Continue to wear masks and try and stay as socially distant as possible. That's probably going to be difficult when you're looking at merch and stuff. So it's going to be a challenge, but I'm looking forward to going again because it's been a long time and we like our anime cons and stuff, and we haven't been to one in ages. So yeah, just been looking forward to that, really.
Yeah, cool. All right.
So the next section, as is podcast tradition, is what?
We're so regimented, aren't we? We have to do it section by section.
It must be in the correct order as well. So
some of our sections is longer than the fucking topic itself. Pardon my language.
The gaming news is up next, and this isn't going to be a long one because I don't think a lot has happened in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
There's a few small things we could mention, like Obsidian announced 10 million players have played Grounded, which is pretty cool. We've played that game a bit. We really enjoyed it when we did.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Like it's always fun to play games with your mates. Like Xbox push the sort of like live service update sort of game model a lot. Obviously with Sea of Thieves and Grounded, and I've probably got missing probably another couple of games off there. Yeah, it's good fun. Like, I do like my single player story based games, but I also enjoy playing with friends. So I do like there's variation in the types of games you can play on, especially on Game Pass. A lot of people don't like that, but that's how it is. I think it's the way of the future. Especially like more and more.
They've got to offer something for everyone.
Yeah,
really,
they got to like, especially like everything's connected online now. Your whole like, you can have your whole life online, and it makes sense to sort of like make games for that sort of market.
And you can even a bit of co-op can even make a kind of busted janky game somewhat fun. Like we played the Anacrusis. If you haven't checked that video out, go and have a look on our channel. And it's not a great game. But it was it was kind of fun running around like lunatics together. But
it was janky.
That needs a lot of work.
Yeah, it really does. It's just not. After a while, I was like, wow, I'm so glad
stop now.
I'm so glad they released this on early access, because it is not finished.
No. But yeah, another milestone bit of news, I guess. Horizon Zero Dawn is announced just before the sequel Forbidden West comes out. They've announced the original game has hit 20 million sales across PS4 and PC, which is pretty damn good for a new IP. And really good game. I played it on PS4 when it came out, really enjoyed it. I've rebought it on PC as well because it was like £8 in a sale, so I'm going to replay that at some point. And then hopefully Forbidden West will come to PC before too long, so I can play that. But yeah, good for Guerrilla Games. Well deserved. It's a really good game.
And, congratulations. Yeah, good. It's a good game.
And I guess the bigger news, well, the biggest news is going to be our main topic, so we'll leave that for now. But 2 days ago, I think, as of recording this, there was a new Nintendo Direct, the first one of 2022. And got some new reveals in there, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, well, why don't you talk us through it? Because I don't give a shit about Nintendo Direct. I never watch any of that stuff. Like, it never interests me.
I watch them all, and sometimes they're really disappointing, and sometimes they're good. And this was a good one. Well, depending on whether you're into the games. But they announced some remakes of some older RPGs. So there's a remaster of Chrono Cross, I think, coming. Never played Chrono Cross because it never came out over here. A sequel to Chrono Trigger, and we never got it, so that's interesting. That's coming to everything as well, even Xbox, which is a surprise. They also announced remakes of Live Alive and Front Mission, some SNES Squaresoft RPGs from back in the day, and Live Alive is being remade in the Octopath Traveler HD 2D engine or whatever it's called. Looks pretty cool. Bigger reveals, new Mario Strikers. I don't care about Mario Strikers. A Mario game where it looked like they didn't understand the rules of football at all, quite frankly. Just cynical fouls all over the place, and if you do a power-up shot, it gives you 2 goals, and just nonsense like that. I know it's an arcade game, but you watch it and you think, have these people ever seen football? I think the answer is no.
No, I never really give a shit about Mario games anyway, man. They were probably very samey. But I did like Odyssey. Odyssey is good.
I still haven't played that. I own it, but I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, Odyssey is good. I had fun with that.
They're bringing back Wii Sports, Paul. Did you see that announcement?
I did see that. Yeah.
Obviously, it's called Switch Sports now, but it's Wii Sports.
Yeah, great.
Okay.
Gives a shit about
that. Some new DLC for Mario Kart 8, which is, I'm pretty sure it's the first DLC they've ever done for it, and the game came out in 2017, I guess, around the time of the Switch release.
I love. Don't get me wrong, I like Nintendo, but sometimes like Nintendo get away with so much just because they're Nintendo. They don't seem to get criticized as much as say PlayStation or Xbox for some of their practices. Where their games never effing going down in price. Never. Their first party games never go down. Just like, please, just have a sale. Just have like something. not like, have it like a 5-year-old game, still like nearly £60. Please, for the love of Christ. I want to get Mario Party because I want to do like a little live stream with a bunch of mates. And I'm just like looking, I go, man, like it's still like what? Still like, you know, like the latest, okay, it's the latest one. It's like 60 odd quid. I'm just like, oh God, and it's never going to go down. I'm just like, I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and buy it. You know what I mean? I'm just like every company, every console, every platform has a sale apart from effing Mario Kart. Nintendo, and I'm just like, oh God, just please for once, just go down. And when you do, like for us YouTubers and stuff like that, you make a video and it instantly gets fucking claimed. And sometimes it gets blocked in countries. They just they don't outright just block it. They block it from certain areas, obviously like Japan and stuff like that. So I'm just like, oh, for God's sake, they copyright strike it. They do everything to it. It's like, oh, come on, man, just like give like please, like I know it's like it's not just Nintendo. I like a lot of like AniTubers and film reviewers have problems when they use like clips from like Japanese companies. It's just a real pain in the ass. But come on, Japan, like sort it out, man. You were once the most technologically advanced and forward-thinking country in the world, and you seem now you're stuck in the bloody 1980s. Come on, man, just get a grip on it, man. Please. The bubble's gone, man. Your time in the sun's gone. Stop trying to cling on to those days. Just move forward, please.
I wonder how much of that kind of stuff is down to like talent agencies and stuff, because they wield quite a lot of influence. Like there was a story last year about, you know, the Judgment games, the Yakuza spin-off ones. The guy who plays the main character, I can't remember his name. He's a really well-known like Japanese actor. And it's like his likeness in the game, and he voices a character and everything. And Sega wanted to put the series on PC to grow the franchise, and the talent agency that he's signed to wouldn't allow it.
Yeah, probably because like you can mod it, and they probably didn't want to do it. Yeah,
that's basically it.
Yeah.
So Sega have basically said, "Oh, if we can't put it on PC, we're killing the series." So.
Like Sega's good though, man. Sega like they're pretty good. Like they think they got that sort of Western sort of style of thinking, like Square Enix and things like that. It's just certain like companies like Nintendo like still stuck in like some old way of thinking.
Well, yeah, I mean, like it's the ones that actually have like a stake in the West. Like Sega have a handful of large Western studios. Square Enix have a handful of large Western studios as well, so I'd imagine that's kind of a good part of the reason why those companies tend to be a bit better about this stuff.
And Capcom look good. Like with
the ones that aren't like Nintendo. Nintendo have a couple of Western studios, obviously, but they're very much under the Nintendo umbrella. Like you never hear from them unless it's through Nintendo, basically. And then like Bandai Namco are pretty bad about this kind of stuff as well.
Yeah,
remember when Tales of Zestiria came out on PS4 and you couldn't use the share button. If you tried to like just capture footage on the console using the console's own share footage, you get a little pop-up saying you cannot capture this. And then if you tried to stream it, it'd like mute the audio and stuff like that. Just like really unfriendly to like anything sort of online.
Yeah.
But anyway, getting a little bit off topic there.
We can make a podcast episode just about like some of the practices some certain companies do. You know what I mean? But
yeah, some more stuff from the Nintendo Direct before we wrap up this section. Got a new trailer for Splatoon 3 for the Salmon Run Horde mode thing. I really like Splatoon, so I'm looking forward to that. A new Fire Emblem Warriors game based on Fire Emblem Three Houses. And then the main one that I was excited about is Xenoblade Chronicles 3 was finally announced. I like the Xenoblade Chronicles games. I did an unboxing for the Xenoblade Chronicles 1 remaster on our channel last year, was that? Or was that 2020? Who even knows what time is anymore in these pandemic times? But yeah, go check that out because I did an unboxing of the special edition and I also had the other special editions on hand to compare. So yeah, I'm really excited about Xenoblade Chronicles 3, that's coming out in September as well, quite soon.
I've got I'm just looking at my Switch collection, and I do have Xenoblade Chronicles, the definitive edition, which still I think that was a birthday present or Christmas present. I still haven't played it.
It's a good game, but it's a long game, and it'll probably take you about 3 years to get through it.
The rate I play, yeah.
So yeah, that was the main news for me. Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I'm really looking forward to that. We'll see more of that around E3 time, I should imagine. It'll be out in September. With that, I think.
Well, can I one more thing? It's not gaming related, but there was a news video going around of a certain footballer who plays for West Ham kicking his cat and being abusive to his animal. And I'd just like to say, fuck you, Kirk Zuma.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Piece of shit.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Did you see that logo someone made, like the Puma logo?
No, I didn't see it.
You know the Puma logo is like a man going to kick a ball?
Yeah.
And it was that, but with a... No, it was...
So the Puma logo?
No, the Puma logo is the cat. The Puma,
yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
and jumping. Someone put a picture of a man going to kick that, and underneath it, instead of Puma, it said Zuma.
Yeah, well,
yeah. It is. Not really a laughing situation, honestly. People kicking their cats deserve a good kicking themselves.
I do like some of the fact that a UFC fighter, Jan Blachowicz, called him out saying, "You piece of shit! If I see you, I'll kick you." You like abusing animals is not a good thing. And I was like, I like you, Jan. I'm going to follow you for that. Yeah, you will absolutely beat the shit out of Kirk Zuma. And damn David Moyes, you ugly bastard, for keep picking him. So yeah, spit on you. Anyway,
I think that's going to wrap up the news section, and we'll move on to the main topic, which is also kind of newsy because it's a big story that happened last week, I think. Again, who even knows what time is these days? But obviously, in the wake of Microsoft announcing their acquisition of Activision, I can't even speak today. Activision Blizzard. Activision Blizzard King for $68.7 billion US dollar dues. People were wondering, what are PlayStation going to do? They've got to retaliate, right? Maybe they'll buy Square Enix, or maybe they'll buy Capcom. This was the chatter all over the place. Square Enix did buy someone for $3.6 billion. Not Activision money, but still quite a lot of money.
That's still quite a fair chunk of change.
Chunk of change, $3.6 billion. And they bought Bungie. I happen to be wearing a Bungie t-shirt today, just in pure coincidence.
The makers of the original Halo series and currently of Destiny. My thoughts are, wow, that's a lot of money for a studio who makes one game. The thought is behind it is PlayStation want to capitalize. They want like a live service, a live service. So they've acquired Destiny because obviously it has a large, it's online player base. So they're looking for that. Maybe it's to beef up their if they do make a sort of rival to Game Pass, their equivalent. Maybe they want that on there, but. That's a lot of money for not a publisher, a studio. What they self-publish? They used to be part of who was their publisher at the time? I know it was like they were with partnership. Was it with Activision?
It was Activision. Yeah, they were. It was a lot of people seem to think Activision owned them during that time. They were never owned by Activision, but they were the publisher of Destiny. But then I think both parties decided to walk away because Destiny development was taking up a lot of internal manpower from Activision. They were having to put studios like High Moon and I think Vicarious Visions as well were having to be put on Destiny support. So they both kind of went their separate ways, and Bungie retained the IP, but then didn't have those support studios to fall back on. So kind of a win-win / lose-lose for both. But yeah, they were being published and distributed by Activision before, up until like 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah. So it's a lot of money for a studio that just makes one game. And is it? I never played Destiny. You've played it. You liked it. The Destiny one. I don't know if you
Yeah.
played Destiny 2.
I've played both. I've
Oh,
probably put about 100 hours into each game, which sounds like a lot if you don't play Destiny. If you do play Destiny, it's literally nothing.
mm,
Like the people that love that game play it for thousands of hours. I liked it, but it didn't really grab me in the way that like Halo did. Like we obviously we've talked about Halo a lot. I'm a huge Halo fan.
yeah.
Have been for 20 years at this point, and I was obsessed with Bungie during like the time they were working on Halo. I'd read everything I could about them online. I'd watch all the like Viadocs, watch all the behind the scenes stuff, scour the internet for little tidbits of information to figure out who these people were that made these games that I loved. I even thought no, I never really did anything about this, but I always thought, man, it'd be so cool to work there and work on Halo. And when they announced Destiny, I was extremely excited for it because everything that had been said before launch was, oh, it's going to be basically Halo plus RPGs mashed together. And I was like, I love Halo, I love RPGs. This sounds like it could be the best game ever. And that's kind of how I approached it pre-release. I was like, yeah, this is going to be the best game I've ever played. And it came out, I was like, oh, it's okay. So it being just okay when I was expecting that much of it ended up being a disappointment. It just wasn't what I wanted it to be. It was kind of a mess. Destiny 1, the story was just a complete shit show, quite frankly. Apparently, Joseph Staten, who is at 343 now, one of the main writers on the Halo series, back when he was still with Bungie, his story was basically hacked up and sort of stapled back together in the wrong order because the higher ups didn't like it, so it barely made any sense. And story and like the mysteries of the Halo universe was something that kept me invested in Halo for 20 years now. So when their new IP came out and the story was a mess, it would kind of sucked. Stuff like enemy AI is a massive regression from Halo. They mostly just sidestep and hide behind cover. You have to ADS your gun to actually hit any target, which is the complete antithesis of Halo, where your aiming is the same no matter what you're doing. You can always move and shoot with the same accuracy, and I like that, and I don't like ADS, so that was a massive nail in the coffin. So yeah, after Destiny came out, I was like, yeah, it's a fun game, but I kind of don't care anymore. And then sort of like over the next couple of years, I just stopped caring about Bungie altogether, to the point where when Sony acquired what used to be my favorite studio in the industry, I just didn't care. No emotional reaction to it at all. I was just, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. It was a kind of like I was like, oh, that's unexpected, and then it turns out that it's not. Bungie's not going to be exclusive to PlayStation. It's still going to be on every platform. So it kind of makes me think, why did they buy them? But again, I think it's because of the live service that it can give PlayStation. Because I don't think they have many studios that do live service games. So it kind of makes sense that they want to like have that and maybe add it to their portfolio when they eventually make their own Game Pass, which I don't know if they're going to do. There's been talk about people saying they're going to do it, but I don't think so, especially with like Sony was saying that it's expensive to make games. That's why we're charging 70 quid. And a lot of people are like, oh, okay, we'll give you 70 quid. And then like Xbox just came along and go, oh, all our first party games are going to be on Game Pass.
And they're not charging 70 quid this gen like
Sony
are. They're still 60.
It's expensive to make AAA like cinematic games, apparently. So,
it is, and they take thousands of people to make like large studios plus all the outsourcing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think something like over 1,000 people worked on The Last of Us 2 in total.
Yeah.
So yeah, those games are expensive. But you know, that's the model Sony's gone for, and as you said, Bungie are going to stay multi-platform, not just for Destiny 2, but for future games, they've said. So they hold complete creative control. They're going to be self-publishing.
Yeah.
So literally all Sony is doing is giving them money. and Bungie's making all their own decisions, which is kind of crazy when they've just paid $3.6 billion for the studio. That's kind of nutty terms, honestly.
It's kind of like when Xbox bought Minecraft and kept everything how it is. Kind of like that, but it is a strange like reaction. And this deal must have been going on for a while, man. It just doesn't happen overnight. There must have been talks been going like between them. But
I think some insiders came out and said it's been in the talks since like October or something. So it's been a few months.
I don't think like Bungie needed to be bought as well. I can understand when like Bethesda and Activision were bought. They had like some struggles. So obviously with the Activision with their CEO and Bethesda with some lackluster releases. Xbox has just come on and bought them,
taking advantage. Basically.
Yeah, it's not the price off of them as well, and they're willing to sell. So that's what Xbox have done. People are saying that Sony should buy Capcom or Square Enix. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they got the money to do that. They're rich. They're a rich company like Sony, but they're not Microsoft rich, if you know what I mean. Like Microsoft are $1 trillion company, and the only ones that can rival them, like say we said this before, is probably like Google and Amazon,
big tech firms.
Yeah, big like and Facebook, big things like that. With Sony, they have a lot of fingers in a lot of pies, but it doesn't make them money really. Like film industry and stuff, it doesn't really make them money. I know Spider-Man has made quite a lot of money, but you know when you break it down and everything, still it's not really made them that much of. I don't know how the deal is with Marvel, if they have to split the profits with them. Don't know, like maybe they do, but so like PlayStation's probably the one area where that makes them money, but it still costs them a lot to make these games, so they don't have the big money. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they will buy like a Capcom or a Square Enix.
I think that some figures I saw, I can't remember if I'm remembering this correct, but it's something like 40% of Sony's profit comes from PlayStation.
It's a lot.
So yeah, they are quite a big money maker for them. I do think they have the money on hand to buy someone like Square Enix or Capcom, because they'd probably be sort of around the 10 billion mark, I think, and I think they could afford that, and they could finance the deal in other ways, like share swaps and stuff like that. So I think they could afford those, but the question is, would they? Because obviously when you buy a large company like that, it's not just the initial outlay, you're taking on a load of new employees that you have to pay going forward as well.
They don't need to be bought. That's the thing. They're not in any financial trouble. There's no like real none of their games, they haven't had like a release where their games are done quite poorly, like Bethesda done, you know, with like the Fallout 76 and stuff like that, not done too well. And they're looking to be bought. I don't think like Capcom or Square Enix are. They're in quite a good state, and I think Sony like this deal they got with Square Enix, where they're money hatting some of their games to be exclusive on their console. That works for them.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're doing that, and that's obviously cheaper for them to do that than to take on a whole new company.
They did it to Bethesda. Like that Tokyo Wire's coming out.
Ghostwire Tokyo.
Ghostwire Tokyo.
Next month, is it?
Yeah, and I know a few YouTubers have got their influencers have got their hands on it, and they're saying, yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's good. So yeah,
they did a presentation of it recently on YouTube, and I thought it looked pretty cool. The setting looks amazing, but we're gonna have to wait a year for it on Xbox because of Sony money hats.
Yeah,
but yeah, like obviously they've done in the past as well with like Capcom as well. So I think that's what they'll continue to do with Capcom and Square Enix, just like money hat the odd games.
It's Street Fighter that they
Street Fighter 5 is permanent exclusive, not even timed.
but and no one said anything. No, I was just like, what the fuck? What the hell? It's like, and apparently the game wasn't that good. That's when people started complaining, when they said the game was broken, not for the fact that they bought it and kept it on their platform for exclusive and stopped other people from playing it. Oh, it's because the game it was quite broken.
People like to bring up, it wouldn't have happened without Sony, but because Ono, the producer of it, had basically said It said it wouldn't have happened when it happened unless Sony put their money in, so it made it come out earlier, basically. But then it came out half baked. So a year later, they brought out the Champion Edition, which was much better, and which is everyone said, "Oh, this is how it should have been at launch." So if Sony hadn't money hatted it, that would have been the version we got a year later, and it would have been on everything. So yeah, good guy Sony. But yeah, I think that makes more sense for Sony to do, to try and continue money hats and stuff like that.
Because they want to make, I think they want to make Final Fantasy like exclusive to PlayStation. It looks like it.
They at least want to make it. What's the word I'm looking for here? They want to relate it to PlayStation, so that when people think Final Fantasy, they think PlayStation. So that's why you've got like Final Fantasy VII was a 1 year timed exclusive. Then when that year went up, they signed it for another 6 months, and then it's been 2 months since that was up, and it still isn't out on Xbox.
It's out on PC.
Well, on Epic, because they've signed a time deal with Epic as well now.
Oh, it's not
only on Epic Game Store.
Oh, God's sake.
Yeah, that game's just a mess. And then obviously, like Final Fantasy 16 is, I can't remember if it's that or Forspoken. One of them's a 2 year timed exclusive, which is just bullshit. But yeah,
I think it's Forspoken. I think because people are talking about that. Because I thought it was a pure exclusive, but it's actually timed.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay.
But they want to draw these things out to the point where people think, oh, well, this probably never will come to Xbox now because it just keeps getting extended, and they want to kind of tie the series to PlayStation without having to own it, which I think sucks. If you're going to do that, buy the damn studio and pay for the games yourself.
Yeah. I don't think it's in Sony's interest to buy publishers out, right? I think they're pretty happy with just picking and choosing what games they want to make to money hat and make exclusive. So that's why I say
that they could afford one or two small publishers like that, but it's a lot of risk. It's a lot more risky for them than it is for Xbox, because it's a bigger chunk of their cash in reserve, and also you're then committing to paying for all those employees and buildings and everything going forward. So it just piles on the risk. So I don't think they will.
Yeah, and plus they'll make all those games like 70 or probably increase the price to 80 quid. It's like, oh, this acquisition is not going to pay for itself, guys. We need to make this money. So
yeah, Bungie, 3.6 billion, almost half of the cost of the Bethesda acquisition, which was 8 studios and tons of IP, tons of big IP as well. You know, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Doom, Wolfenstein, obviously smaller stuff like Arcane, which doesn't tend to do well, but doesn't do commercially well, but does critically really well. And then that was 7.5 billion for all of that, 3.6 billion just for Bungie. They're a large studio. I think they're something like 800 people at this point, but they're a large studio with one IP to their name. But I think the strategy is, as you say, like Sony don't really have any games as a service stuff at the moment, and they want to get into that because they're seeing, like, you look at all the biggest games. What are the biggest games around? Stuff like Fortnite and Warzone, and big games as a service games that are available everywhere. So when they're looking at that and think, well, okay, we can own Bungie and they've got a big service game. If we just leave it on everything to rake the money in. And at the same time, they said at the time of the acquisition that they're looking to release 10 games as a service titles between now and 2026, and they specifically called out the Bungie acquisition as like accelerating that, because obviously Bungie, it's not just the Destiny IP and the studio, but it's the fact that they know how to make those games as well, so they can talk to the other PlayStation studios and kind of collaborate with them as they try and expand on that sector. So I think that's what the play is. And I think next to that, they're like, fine, yeah, leave your stuff multi-platform, but help us grow our service ambitions. And then basically, if even 2 of those 10 games take off, they'll be raking in a lot of dosh.
Yeah, man.
Genshin Impact as well. It's another game as a service one that brings in bundles of money.
I've never really got into like. Have you played Genshin Impact? No, I know a lot of people play it, and what is it? It's like a gacha game or something like that. What?
I think it's basically Breath of the Wild with waifus, from what I can
Oh,
tell.
okay.
But
So
yeah, gacha waifus.
you collect waifus.
I think so.
Is that it? Is that
I've never looked into it, but I think it's like an open world sort of action RPG. I think, but you collect gacha waifus.
What about husbandos? Is there any like you can catch any of those, or is it just pure waifus?
Don't know. You'd have to go and play it and find out, Paul.
I don't want to play.
You can report back to us on the next podcast.
I don't. Is it on PlayStation 4? Because I don't own a PS5.
It's on PC as well. So.
Oh, is it? I can play on. I might just like play that and make a little video of it. I mean, why not, man? Everyone else is. Catch those trends, man.
Catch them waifus.
Catch those waifus, man. Look, like I do like a good waifu, mate. No, don't get me wrong, but
well, I mean, weren't we just saying we're going to an anime con tomorrow? So.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here with anime figures behind my head.
Yeah, you got them. I got some up there. I got one in a maid. I got Ray in a maid costume there. So yeah,
outrageous, Paul.
Absolutely outrageous. So yeah, like that. What else can we talk? Like, what else can we say about? Like, is this going to like? Is it going to create an arms race, like where like Xbox and like PlayStation?
The acquisition wars.
Yeah,
the acquisition wars
is that what's going to happen, Master Yoda? Is that what's going to like? Because I don't like the idea like of Xbox and PlayStation like just gobbling things. I mean, what's going to be left for? I do like the idea that some people can stay independent. Like people like were saying that they should Sony should buy Take-Two or EA. I was like, good luck with that. No way that's going to happen.
Those I don't think they could afford. Someone like Capcom or Square Enix would be around the 10 billion mark, and they could afford, I think, but not EA or those would be in the tens of billions.
EA makes so much money from their licensed sports games. They probably can buy Sony, to be fair. They'll be like, you don't buy us out, we buy you out. How about we buy you and we'll get into this console?
I think Sony is several times larger than EA, but yeah, I don't think either will be buying the other.
I don't know, man. Like you make a lot of money from Madden and FIFA. It's a hell of a lot of money. They own some of the biggest brands in gaming. So
well, they license them. If they lost those licenses, then what are you left with? Like they've lost the exclusive Star Wars license. They can still make Star Wars games, as we know they are, but they lost the exclusive license. They could lose FIFA and Madden and NHL or whatever else they've got.
Could do, yeah.
I mean, they've had them for years. They've had FIFA for nearly 30 years at this point, but it could happen.
Yeah, I mean, it could happen. But what's the rival? The Evo is just shit its pants. Pro Evo it got rebranded and it's just like a free to play game.
eFootball now, isn't it?
It's terrible. Yeah.
Of course, it's terrible. It's a game made by Konami, and they don't make games.
They make pachinko machines now. Don't they?
They make NFTs as well.
Oh fuck me!
They make Castlevania NFTs now.
Mm.
That's where they've fallen to.
Yeah. Oh god, do we have? I see a lot of people start doing NFTs and
scam artists and grifters.
A lot of people are sort of online. I kind of respect. I'm a lot of people just don't know what NFTs are, but they want a piece of it. You know what I mean? It's like you don't own anything, man. You own a number in a blockchain, all right, in a database.
I'm not a number. I'm a free man.
Yeah. So, yeah.
But yeah, acquisition sprees. Is it going to get worse? I mean,
probably not. I don't think
a lot of stuff has happened. Like Microsoft, pre E3 2018 had 5 studios, and one of those was their global publishing team that just worked with third parties. And now they have 32, I think. It's absurd. They've bought 7 studios in a couple of years. They created 2 more, then they bought a publisher, then they bought another publisher. Tencent have been investing all over the place, not outright buying studios for the most part, but buying chunks of them. Like they own 40% of Epic, which is pretty significant. Embracer, they own something like 60 studios now. They've just constantly buying stuff. I think the biggest one they have now is oh god, what's the people that make Borderlands? Gearbox.
Gearbox,
yeah. I think that's their biggest one. But they own dozens of studios. They've been buying up like tons of smaller and middle-sized studios. Sony have bought something like 7 in the last couple of years. Bought Insomniac, they bought Bungie, and they bought 5 smaller sort of startup studios last year. So yeah, everyone is buying at the moment. So I can understand the worry. It's going to have to stop at some point, otherwise you're going to end up with like two companies owning everything, and I don't think governments around the world will allow that, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, and there's just Nintendo just doing their own thing, just like okay.
The last studio they bought, Next Level Games, I think,
a
couple of years ago, maybe. Yeah, they don't tend to really acquire at all.
Well, they got their niche, haven't they? Really, so they don't really need to. I mean, they can churn out bloody Pokemon and Animal Crossing games and Mario games, which are pretty similar. No one ever says it. Like they're always the same. A Pokemon, they got. I know there's a new one got released recently, and a lot of people have been streaming playing that. And I just look at. I've been watching it. I'm like, it's just the same thing again. Just go around catching Pokemon and challenging gym leaders. I'm just like,
from a technical standpoint as well, it looks embarrassing.
It looks like shite. Yeah, it doesn't look.
I know good. That's not the important thing with games, but it looks terrible.
Yeah, it doesn't look great. But people are having fun, and that's the main thing, man. Like
that is the main thing.
That's the main thing. I mean, if you want to have fun, like just playing the same game all the time. I mean, like people. It's never really brought up, is it, with Nintendo? Like I keep going off topic here, but they always
you got a real bee in your bonnet about Nintendo today.
I do I mean, I like Nintendo. I'm not going to profess that I love them. Like some people go, I love Nintendo. I love them so much.
They're the Disney of video games, Paul.
Oh man, just give me a break. Come on, man. They're not. They kind of. They do have shitty business practices and stuff like that, but it's because they make like Mario and Animal Crossing. I always find it weird. Like I own Animal Crossing. I haven't played it yet, and I think it's kind of like had its time because it was a pandemic sort of game when everyone was just shutting in playing.
Very much like Among Us.
Yeah. So yeah, that's died off as well. But it's like when I'm gonna sound like an old man, but when I see like people are like our age play it, I'm just like, come on, man! You're playing Animal Crossing and you're like in your 30s. Come on, dude.
Hey, don't hate, man.
I know. It's just a bit. I just a bit. It's just like I like some like cutesy games and stuff. I still like Pokemon, but I was like, I'm a bit like too old for that kind of crap now, man. It's just like I think once you reach I don't know. I shouldn't really say that, but when you reach a certain age, maybe you should stop playing like Pokemon.
Okay, so here's the thing. The last Pokemon I played was Pokemon Red.
Yeah,
which was the first one that ever came out.
I played Blue.
I don't care about the series.
Yeah, I played Blue and Yellow.
If you're approaching 40 and you're still enjoying Pokemon, crack on.
Yeah,
have fun.
Yeah, like all power to you. But I'm just like, I'm like, it's such. I don't know. Maybe I'm digging myself a hole here, but
oh yeah, especially with that maid waifu figurine you were talking about earlier on your shelf.
No, I got that from Japan. That's going to stay. That's my pride or joy there. I got that like when I first went to Japan. So I got it from a Crane game as well. So I was really pleased that I managed to get it.
So if we were to suggest that acquisitions are going to continue, which maybe they will, with inflation rising and it just being more prudent to spend cash than keep it at the moment for these large companies, who do you think's getting bought up next, Paul?
I don't think Xbox has said they're not done with purchasing. I think they're done buying publishers, but studios.
I hope so.
Yeah, studios. I think they probably. I think they're going to look to buy something in Japan to expand their Japan portfolio. I mean, like Platinum Games have talked about Revive. Is it Platinum?
Yeah.
the Scalebound, that they want to revive that, and trying to get in contact with Phil, and I think that's a good idea. They should now they should revisit it and try and revive that IP now that sort of like technology sort of catched up to their vision. So
And
maybe
now that they have Xbox actually have budget to spend,
they
don't have to worry about cancelling it.
Yeah, like Xbox were being really like tight last gen, weren't they? They were like cutting back a lot. A lot of people thought they were going to sell up, but with Phil coming in and sort of steadying the ship and steering it in the right direction, they're willing to like spend obviously billions on publishers. But yeah, I think they should probably look at. I think they are going to like look at buying studios for for the Japanese market and developing games there, which I'm all down for, man. Like, I don't know who they could buy. I could throw like, you could throw like, I don't know if they'll buy Platinum. It could happen. That would be really like, that would really shock some people, but I don't think that would. If they do, then I don't know, like Platinum. They make game. They make games for Nintendo, and they make games for everyone, don't they? But maybe I don't know. It's like but I do think that they sort of gotten everything from the West. I think they're going to look to Japan and like Korea and those sort of markets to buy studios that from that sort of area, and even maybe China. I don't know, because China are like a sort of
growth market.
Yeah, they're flexing their muscles now and looking to delve into the games industry. But I definitely see them develop studios in Japan and that region, East Asia. Like,
I agree. I think, I mean, they've basically said that's what they want to do. Phil has said, it'd be good to have studios in Japan. They have one at the moment with Tango, which they got through buying Bethesda, but I think they're going to want more than one. I think they'll probably go for smaller studios and then try and staff them up. So, like Experience Inc., I think they're called, which is Yukio Futatsugi, who created the Panzer Dragoon series on the Saturn. And then he was actually at Microsoft Japan at one point. He's the guy that made Phantom Dust, the OG Xbox Japanese exclusive. Also made Crimson Dragon for Xbox at the launch of the Xbox One, which was very low budget, unfortunately. But I could see them partnering with him and staffing the studio up to be something bigger. Maybe work with Sakaguchi again. Now that Mistwalker's getting back on its feet, maybe buy Mistwalker and staff them up a bit. But yeah, I think they'll be looking at like studios in East Asia, but smaller ones they can build up. But I also think they'll probably be waiting until the Activision acquisition closes, because they're talking a lot about regulation at the moment, and governments around the world looking more closely at acquisitions by big tech firms. So I think they're not going to want to rock the boat until that is closed. So I think they're done for at least the next year, personally. Sony, I don't think Sony are going to buy anyone anytime soon, to be honest, after spending nearly $4 billion on Bungie, and also, as I say, they bought 5 smaller studios last year. I think they're going to be done for the time being. I think they'll probably be up at like 20 first-party studios now, which is quite a large expansion for them. So I don't think they're going to be buying anyone. Embracer are probably just going to continue buying anyone they can, because that's what they've been doing for years. Any sort of mid-sized studio, probably in Europe, they're probably in the sights of Embracer. Nintendo, as we said, they don't really acquire people, but I could see them acquiring Mercury Steam, because they've worked with them a couple of times in the last few years to good effect. See, they made Metroid Samus Returns on the 3DS, and then they gave them Metroid Dread on the Switch, which came out last year, which was a massive success. So I could see them looking to acquire Mercury Steam. They're kind of a smaller studio as well. I think they're about 150, 200 people. So yeah, that's one I kind of expect to happen in the next year or two. Other than that, who the hell knows? Who the hell saw Bethesda coming? And then after that, who the hell saw Activision coming? And then after that, who the hell saw Sony spending nearly $4 billion on Bungie? All this stuff just came out of nowhere. So it's not really something you can predict, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Mercury Steam to Nintendo in the next couple of years.
My
prediction.
Does Google Stadia still a thing? Is that
Not really. They actually closed all their first-party studios, didn't they? I think they had 2 or 3, and they closed them down.
Oh.
And now apparently there was a rumor last week, I think, saying that they were trying to transition it to like a business-to-business model, so like license out the streaming tech rather than actually operate it themselves. So I think Stadia is done. Don't think that's coming back.
Yeah.
Amazon, maybe Amazon will pick someone up. They've been trying to make games for the last few years.
I think they want like the live service.
Like New World, their MMO they bought out recently.
Yeah, that's what they're looking at mostly. But yeah, making games is expensive. I think like it's sort of set in stone now. The players in the gaming industry who make consoles anyway, and I think that's about it. It's a bit hard to crack it now. Xbox was quite lucky when they did sort of came around and put their toe in it, and they got a winner with Halo. So I think now like there's a couple of like firms have tried to get into gaming and it sort of failed. Who was the company? What was that little gaming box? Was it Ouya? Yeah, that what happened there? Like that just sort of died.
Ouya bugger.
Ouya bugger.
I mean, that was basically an Android phone in a box without a screen. So that literally all that could run was like phone games. So I remember people getting really excited about it when it was announced, and I just remember thinking, why are you excited about this? It's just going to run like Android games. Like, who cares? Play those on your phone.
Yeah.
And then obviously it died a very quick death.
Yeah.
To the surprise of surely no one.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't really get many entrants in like platform holder positions. The last one do try, obviously, being Google, and they've already kind of wound it down.
Yeah. I know some people, like especially last generation, were hoping that Xbox died, and it just sort of went away, and have PlayStation as the dominant one and only force that's out there.
Yeah. I'm sure people that only play on PlayStation would love that.
Oh yeah.
Until they start charging $100 for games.
Yeah. Absolutely. But yeah, man. Anything else you wanna we got to add to that?
I think that's about going to cover it. I think sort of kind of surprise in the sense that Bungie got bought by PlayStation. It is kind of weird on one level because obviously they were owned by Microsoft at one point. Now they're owned by PlayStation. Yeah, from an emotional level, I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, kind of makes sense given Sony want to get into service game stuff, and I don't really care.
Some people were, it was quite funny on the internet going, oh, now Halo is going to come out on PlayStation. I was like, what? I was like, are they being genuine or they're just being stupid? I actually thought some people thought they were going to, yeah, we could get Halo on PlayStation. I was like,
kind of reminds me, there's a story of when Microsoft bought Rare and someone higher up at Microsoft, like not in the, I can't remember who it was. It was like an executive in like the parent, like Microsoft as a whole, not someone that was in Xbox. It was like, oh, does that mean we get Donkey Kong on Xbox? Nintendo owns Donkey Kong.
Yeah, good luck, man. Who knows, man? Like there was rumors that like Game Pass could come to like Nintendo. Because it is just a service thing. Like you can have the app on there. I was like, well, really?
If it was xCloud, yeah, that makes sense, but not native games.
But like that would be crazy. But please, could we have like more games that come out on Xbox that are from Japan, please? Can we have
well, they're starting to trickle through. We're getting Chrono Cross.
I love like
need to stop Sony money hatting the big stuff.
I do like a good niche Japanese game, and it's
also we're getting Stranger of Paradise next month, Paul. An amazing looking Final Fantasy spin-off.
Oh my god, the one that everyone memed to hell. Okay.
Yeah, that one.
That one. God, I can't wait for that. Let's see what
Final Fantasy Origin memes of Paradise.
Oh my god. But yeah.
I think that's gonna wrap it for this
It's a
episode of the
shortish one, wasn't it?
podcast. I mean, there's not a ton we can talk about that. We wanted to talk about the Bungie acquisition, obviously, and sort of the broader kind of area of acquisitions in the gaming industry, but there's not a ton to talk about until something happens, really. But makes sense for Sony, I think. Good pickup for them, even if it's a lot of money. If it helps them accelerate their games as a service initiatives, then it will end up paying off in the long run, I think.
Cool. But yeah, I think we're going to leave it there, Mr. Ross, aren't we?
We are indeed. We're going to go and get prepared for LAGC tomorrow by, I don't know, getting like a good night's sleep or something.
Having a cup of tea and a biscuit and a good night's sleep.
Cup of tea and a night. Put your nightcap on.
Oh, yeah.
Put your feet up.
Yeah.
Get your slippers on.
We're fucking old men now, man. I feel we can't go out partying and go out the next day. This is not going to happen.
But anyway, that is going to do it for this episode. Thank you all for listening and watching. If you're on YouTube, check us out on our social media channels on Twitter and Instagram and the other ones that I forget off the top of my head, like Tumblr.
Beautiful, beautiful.
You know,
there's stuff. There'll be links to our
in the description
sites
below. And so we will see you again in a couple of weeks. Check out our other videos on YouTube. I've started a sort of abridged let's play of Lone Echo on Oculus Rift. Paul's doing his streaming stuff with Dragon Age 2, so check him out on twitch.tv/agameWithChums. And we will see you next time.
Yeah. Bye. Doom.